The pure campus beauty ran straight to my front door through the heavy rain, just to sleep over for one night. But I turned her down. The next day, she was found dead in the alley outside my house. I've been ridden with guilt ever since. After getting into the police academy, I went all out to track down the real killer. But the heavy rain washed away all traces. We didn't find a single clue for 10 whole years, but a sudden flash of lightning sent me right back to this fork in the road of fate. Something's different. Hey, classmate, I heard your parents are away doing business. And you live here alone? Can I stay at your place for a few days? I can do housework to pay you back. I stared at the person in front of me and reached out to touch her subconsciously. Baiwei tried to dodge instinctively, but held back forcefully because she needed my help, and stood frozen in place. An icy cold touch came from my fingertips. Her slight trembling reaction clearly told me she was still alive. I really came back. Achoo. Sorry. Baiwei stepped back in a hurry, slipped under her feet, and fell backward. I was quick enough to wrap my arm around her waist and pulled her into my arms. Amid the sound of heavy rain, there was dead silence between the two of us. She froze in my arms. Not daring to move at all, I let go of her immediately and stepped back to the edge of the light. You look so cold. I subconsciously wanted to warm you up. Sorry. It's okay. I turned sideways and let her into the house, looking at her pale, bloodless face. My mind started racing. In my past life, the criminal committed this crime in Shanghai City and then vanished without a trace. This time, I'm not only going to save her, I'll also use my years of criminal investigation experience to go to the crime scene tonight and catch the real killer. Baiwei stood nervously at the entryway, fidgeting with the corner of her clothes. When she saw me turn around to get slippers, she got even more flustered. My socks are wet. I'll get the slippers dirty. I'll just go in barefoot. I'll mop the floor for you later. It's a stormy night, a single man and woman alone in a room. Being completely soaked made her extremely uneasy. She dug her nails deep into her palm, forcing herself to calm down. While I was turned around, she quickly glanced around out of the corner of her eye until she saw the hot tea and messy cardboard boxes on the coffee table. Then she finally relaxed her tense back a little. This is for drying your hair. Use it first if you don't mind. Can I borrow a shirt from you too? My clothes are a little wet. That's when I noticed she was clutching tightly at her soaked shirt. Since you need to change anyway, you might as well take a hot bath, or you'll catch a cold. The guest room doesn't have a bathtub. Go use the bathroom in my room. I'll go run the hot water for you. Hearing that she had to take a shower in my bathroom, Baiwei lowered her head in embarrassment and mumbled a quiet agreement. The sound of running water came from the bathroom. Baiwei looked at my busy back and finally worked up the courage. Classmate-ku. Just call me by my name. You want to ask why I didn't question why you wanted to stay here, right? Baiwei looked up in surprise and nodded, her eyes full of curiosity. A pretty girl like you, knocking on someone's door to ask for shelter on a rainy day. Must have a really good reason. If you don't feel comfortable telling me, it'd be rude for me to press you for answers. After hearing what I said, Baiwei's eyes turned red. I tested the water temperature, stood up and walked slowly over to her, and suddenly raised my hand to rest against the wall next to her ear, trapping her between my arms. I'm not worried you have any bad intentions. But aren't you scared that by staying here, I might have bad intentions towards you? Baiwei leaned against the wall, biting her lip lightly, and felt a warm rush spread all over her body. I trust you. Her beautiful eyes stared straight at me boldly. That answer directly shut down any room for me to keep testing her. Remembering I had important things to do tonight, I smiled and pulled my hand back. Go take your bath now. As for the change of clothes, with your figure, this shirt can totally be worn as a dress. Just use it for now. I'll put your clothes in the washing machine first, then toss them in the dryer after. It'll be dry really soon. Thank you. Baiwei turned and walked into the bathroom. Half of this thank you was for taking her in, the other half for my understanding and tolerance. Listening to the sound of running water from the bathroom, I smiled, turned around and left the bedroom. To make ginger tea, After a little while, the bathroom door opened. Baiwei walked out in an oversized hoodie. Her cheeks were faintly flushed from the steam, exposing her fair skin above the knees. "I've already put the slippers out for you." Baiwei put on the warm, fluffy slippers from the dryer. Most of her shyness faded away just as she walked out of the bedroom. She smelled the sweet, warm scent of honey ginger tea. I walked over holding a mug. My gaze swept across the neckline of her oversized hoodie, and my Adam's apple bobbed slightly. "Come have some ginger sugar water." Baiwei took the mug, sipping it in small mouthfuls. "Want me to cook you some noodles?" "Would that be too much trouble?" "No trouble at all. It only takes a few minutes. Take a seat first. I'll add 2 eggs for you." I was just about to get up when a small hand grabbed me. "I can fry poached eggs." "I'll help too." When we got to the kitchen, Baiwei was really surprised by my neat knife skills. I soon cut neat pieces of tomato and ham on the cutting board. Baiwei stepped onto a small stool, tiptoeing to reach the egg carton on the top shelf. As she moved, the hem of her oversized hoodie lifted up instantly. I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye, and my face flushed bright red immediately. Baiwei seemed to notice my gaze, and hurriedly pulled down the hem of her hoodie, but she lost her balance on the small stool. I quickly reached out from behind to steady her, but my palm accidentally slid somewhere I shouldn't touch. Her body went soft and fell straight into my arms. The sandalwood from her hair and the citrus scent of her body wash blended all at once. We both froze on the spot at the same time, until the boiling soup in the pot splashed out. It broke this flirty awkwardness between us. I quickly pulled my hand back, stepped half a step away, and stuffed a slotted spoon into her hand. "You stir it, I'll get the eggs." When I turned around, I saw my red ear tips in the mirror. Turns out all these years, it's not that I'm not attracted to girls. It's just that no one else has ever been able to make me feel this excited. Baiwei blushed and stirred the noodles with her head down. The sizzling sound of the oil perfectly covered the loud thumping of our hearts. The scent of tomato noodle soup soon filled the kitchen. I carried the noodles to the table, deliberately avoiding her slightly trembling fingertips. "Careful, it's hot." "Pick whatever channel you want to watch." The second the TV turned on, Baiwei suddenly clenched her chopsticks tight. The screen was playing those study materials I forgot to switch away from. The content was super explicit. I coughed awkwardly and quickly switched to the TV on-demand interface. I casually opened Crayon Shin-chan. I almost forgot that back then. It was because I was scared of being caught watching this stuff that I refused to let the school bell come in. Luckily, after all these years of growing, I've gotten way thicker-skinned now. I acted like nothing was wrong, no blushing, no racing heart, and switched the channel quickly like it was no big deal. Baiwei also quickly changed the subject. "I didn't know you're such a good cook." I gently wiped off the tiny beads of sweat on the tip of her nose with a tissue. "Now that you're sweating, the cold inside your body is driven out. Eat slowly. There's more in the pot." She ate the noodles attentively, finishing everything including the noodles and soup. She looked totally satisfied. "Are you full after just one bowl?" "Mm-hmm." Right after she said that, a clap of thunder suddenly exploded outside the window. I reflexively looked at the wall clock. 9:57. There's only half an hour left until the murder in my past life. In this life, I have to see the killer's true face. Time is tight. I decided to go investigate near the crime scene right away. I grabbed a glass of water and a blanket and draped it over her. "Since you're full, watch TV in the living room first to digest. I'll wash the dishes when I get back. I'm going out to get some late-night snacks. I'll be back really soon. You're going out in this heavy rain." "It's fine, it's really close." When I got to the door, I suddenly stopped and turned around. I was worried the attacker was premeditating the crime and might even have followed her and hidden nearby. "Remember, before I come back, don't open the door no matter who rings the doorbell. I have the key. I won't ring the doorbell." Hearing what I told her, Baiwei nodded obediently like a little kitten and wrapped herself tight in the blanket. As the door closed behind me, looking at the empty room, she curled up on the sofa, waiting quietly for me to come back. I opened my black umbrella and stepped into the rain. I glanced at my waterproof watch. It was 21:58. In my past life, the forensic doctor deduced Baiwei's time of death was around 10:30. My target tonight is the 24-hour convenience store. on Baiwei's regular route in my past life. In my past life, Baiwei borrowed an umbrella at the convenience store and walked to the crime alley after finishing her food. Though she's staying at my place tonight, I have to confirm if the timeline will have a substitute correction that makes another person die there instead of Baiwei. I will never let that happen. On the way, I took out my phone to check the home surveillance. On the screen, Baiwei was curled up on the sofa holding her knees, watching TV. After confirming she stayed home obediently and didn't run around, I sped up my steps. Just as I got near the convenience store, I heard a muffled groan. A thin figure was curled up next to the trash can at the alley entrance. Several hooligans were surrounding him, punching and kicking, aggressively asking what he was hiding in his hand. The man pinned to the ground was gripping a light gray handkerchief tightly. A tin box fell beside him. Yeci. I recognized him at a glance. This is Yeci, the withdrawn classmate, in my class who gets bullied a lot. Hearing my voice, those hooligans turned around abruptly, and their faces turned pale instantly. Since my parents have quite some influence in Xinghai City, these hooligans are usually very afraid of me. I didn't even put down my umbrella before they ran away in panic like they saw a ghost. Only the sound of rain hitting the tin shed remained in the alley. I squatted down and held the umbrella steadily over Yetzi's head. Are you okay? Do you want me to take you to the hospital? There was still an old burn scar on his wrist. From 3 months ago, I reached out to help him up, but he pulled his hand back like he got an electric shock. The tin box hit the wall. A few crayons and half a bag of cat food rolled into the mud. Thanks! He lowered his head to pick up his school bag. His wet bangs covered the tear mole at the corner of his eye. I noticed that the gaps in his left fingernails were stained with dark brown stains that looked like dried blood. It's raining so heavily, and you still come out to feed stray cats. Yes, I mumbled an answer, and suddenly started coughing violently. His thin shoulders were shaking in the rain. I took off my coat and threw it to him. Put it on. Isn't your mom on a business trip again? If you get sick again, who will take care of your little brother? Just then, surveillance footage from my past life flashed through my mind. In my past life, Baiwei seemed to see something outside the convenience store before walking to the alley. Seeing Yorshi now, I suddenly realized what happened. Baiwei must have seen Yetsu being bullied back then. All kinds of details from my past life flashed through my mind quickly. If Baiwei left the convenience store to stop this bullying in my past life, her soaked appearance would most likely make the hooligans turn their bullying into harassment. I tried hard to recall Yetzi's expression on Monday night in my past life. His injuries were much worse then than now, but he didn't react much to Baiwei's death. That means in my past life, it's very likely that he held back the hooligans at the risk of his own life, so Baiwei wasn't taken away by them, since they didn't do it. Then the real murderer is someone else. After this round of reasoning, I immediately locked onto a key clue, the murder weapon. On such a rainy day, whoever goes out with that deadly knife is the biggest suspect. Thinking that those 3 hooligans most likely carried knives, I immediately regretted letting them go just now. As for the injured Yetzi, he lived well until graduation in my past life, so I can only leave him aside for now. If you're okay, just go home quickly. I was just about to step forward and leave, then stopped to glance at Yetzi's broken umbrella and stuffed my black umbrella into his hand. Your umbrella is broken. Use mine. I still have things to do. Can't give you a ride. Be careful. Hurry home. Before Yetsu could refuse, I've already dashed straight into the torrential rain and disappeared from sight in no time. The rain was so heavy that the 3 thugs didn't get far. They were hiding under a porch eave to take shelter. They were grumbling while discussing whether to put a sack over my head and beat me up, but they didn't dare act rashly because of my family background. Just when they were feeling uncertain, I'd already rushed right in front of them at top speed. The 3 thugs got a huge fright. They thought I came to demand money, waving their hands repeatedly and stepping back. Hey, guys, I want to borrow something. The 3 looked at each other in confusion, their eyes full of wariness. I'm not borrowing money, just something else. The 3 stared at me with confused looks. I stared right back at them and put on a harmless, innocent smile. A knife. The 3 thugs froze on the spot, obviously confused by my request. Come on, you guys are street punks. You can't tell me you don't carry a knife when you go out, right? The The reverse psychology worked perfectly. The green-haired guy angrily pulled a butterfly knife out of his pocket and started flipping it showily right in front of me. I just took one quick look and immediately knew this was definitely not the knife. With the clean cut mentioned in the forensic report, this one's way too flashy. I'll pay $100 for a regular fruit knife. The promise of quick cash worked. The other two thugs scrambled to pull things out of their pockets. A multifunction Swiss Army knife and a cold glinting military folding hunting knife. Neither of these was the murder weapon I was looking for. They're good knives. Oh, too bad I only brought $100, never mind. I ignored the thugs' curses as they realized they'd been played, turned right around and headed back into the cold rain. None of the three thugs had the murder weapon I was looking for. This lead had gone completely cold. A strong sense of anxiety burned in my chest. The easiest way to solve the case was to turn down Byway like I did in my past life, then follow her secretly. I could catch the real killer red-handed at the crime scene, but after being reborn, the second I saw her safe and sound, I couldn't hold back the excitement in my heart. I'd rather search for a needle in a haystack than risk her life, even the tiniest bit. I went back to the convenience store to buy an umbrella. The kind clerk handed me a clean towel to dry the rain off my head. I thanked him, wiped off all the water, and put my phone in a waterproof pouch. Then, I copied Byway's movements and walking pace from when she left the house in my past life, opened my umbrella, and stepped back into the storm. The second I stepped into the rain, the strong wind almost broke the umbrella frame. I walked through the mud and broken glass all over the ground, and finally reached the start of the security camera blind spot. This was exactly the crime scene, mentioned repeatedly in the trace evidence report from my past life. My waterproof watch glowed faintly, showing it was 10:17 p.m. A gust of wind suddenly blew, flipping my umbrella inside out immediately. I just ditched the umbrella altogether, letting the icy rain pour down on me. My phone vibrated inside the waterproof pouch. I leaned against the damp brick wall and pulled up the home security camera feed. In the warm yellow light, Byway was curled up in the corner of the sofa, rubbing her feet together nervously, glancing at the door over and over. Her expression was full of hope, mixed with a little worry. Just wait a little longer. Don't worry. It was 10:29 p.m. A sudden clanging of metal came from the end of the alley. I immediately snuck over quietly on high alert and unexpectedly ran into someone I knew. Zhang Yan, the famous school bully from Xinghai No. 2 Middle School. He was sitting under the awning of an illegal building right now, peeling an apple with a fruit knife. Hey, isn't this cute? It's the middle of the night, pouring rain and windy as hell. You don't even have an umbrella. What are you doing here? I'm out running an errand. The wind broke my umbrella. What are you doing out here so late? Zhang Yan picked up a wrinkled apple from the plastic bag with the tip of his knife. I knew his school bully persona was just a front. His family was really poor, and his mom had severe uremia. I brought some fruit for my mom, but she kicked me out. The edges of his rain boots were stained with the anti-slip plaster commonly used in hospital corridors. He also smelled like the disinfectant, unique to intensive care units, but my eyes were fixed firmly on the fruit knife in his hand. The features of this knife were exactly the same as the murder weapon described in Byway's homicide case. What are you doing standing in the rain? Hurry up and get over here. My place is right nearby. I can lend you an umbrella. I just stepped under the rain shelter. Zhang Yan's phone suddenly started ringing sharply. An anxious nurse was yelling from the other end of the line. She said his mom's blood oxygen level had plummeted. Zhang Yan's face changed instantly. The fruit knife fell into the puddle with a splash. He didn't even have time to say a word. He turned around and ran like mad into the heavy rain. I bent down and picked the knife up from the muddy water. An icy cold feeling seeped into my hand. After checking it carefully, I was completely sure it appeared here at this exact time. Its size and design matched perfectly. This was the key murder weapon that killed Byway in my past life. If Zhang Yan had dropped the weapon by accident, then the real killer would very likely pass by and pick it up in the next half hour. I took a deep breath and threw the knife back where I found it. Drawing on my years of criminal investigation experience, I retreated into the shadows and waited quietly. The rain poured down in sheets. 2:35, a reeking drunk, staggering homeless man stumbled into the shelter for cover. He kicked over a soda can. His mud-caked cloth shoe pressed hard against the knife handle, shoving the blade deep into the mud. Then he left swaying, holding a half-empty bottle of liquor. 22:47. A delivery rider slammed on his brakes to avoid the rain. He accidentally stepped on the back of the knife and fell. He got up swearing under his breath and kicked the blade into the gap of the drain. Mud instantly covered the entire knife. The time hit 22:55 with the knife covered in mud. It was extremely unlikely anyone would stumble across it by chance. The estimated time of Bai Wei's death in my past life was only a few minutes away. Suddenly, a dark figure wearing a black raincoat and a mask flashed past the end of the alley. He was hunched over, walking straight towards the mud-covered knife. He squatted down. Every muscle in my body tensed up like a drawn bowstring instantly. The second he reached out and grabbed the knife handle, on his wrist peeking out from his sleeve, there was an obvious prominent scar from a sulfuric acid burn. I stepped out of the shadows abruptly. In the dim pale light, I got a clear look at the face under the raincoat. It was the famously well-liked staff from Xinghai No. 2 Middle School. Chemistry teacher Li Mingyuan. My mind was reeling with shock. 3 months ago, he had shielded some misbehaving students in the lab and got burned by sulfuric acid himself. He even comforted the student who caused the accident gently afterwards. He was also famously henpecked by his wife. Everyone in the local area had nothing but good things to say about him. But if he was the killer, all the unanswered questions from my past life made sense. In my past life, Bai Wei was attacked in this dark alley, but there were no signs of her trying to run away. That's because she completely trusted this kind gentleman. If Li Mingyuan had offered to share his raincoat with her and take her home to his wife to look after, on that stormy late night, when she was completely helpless, Bai Wei would never have been the slightest bit suspicious. At that thought, I felt an overwhelming sense of grief, but I couldn't act recklessly. After all, Li Mingyuan hadn't committed the crime yet. I decided to use my investigative skills to test why he was out so late at night. Teacher Li. Li Mingyuan looked up immediately. When he saw that I was soaked to the bone, his face was full of surprise and concern. Oh, Gunancheng. How did you get so soaked? I went out to run an errand and got stuck in the rain. Teacher Li, what are you doing out in this heavy rain? I stared closely at his expression and quickly caught a flash of hesitation in his eyes. Nothing much. I just came out to buy a pack of cigarettes. He was lying. Li Mingyuan didn't smoke at all. He was also known to be a devoted family man. My raincoat is pretty roomy. Come under it to stay dry first. I'll take you back to my place, then lend you the raincoat to wear home. He still had that gentle, friendly look on his face. I nodded dully and ducked under his raincoat. As we stood huddled together, I noticed his gaze dart subconsciously over to the adult vending machine next to us, then quickly looked away. He put his arm around my shoulder. I walked the whole way like a zombie, completely numb. When we got to his front door, Li Mingyuan suddenly took out his phone and sent a text, then put it away quickly. I forgot my keys. Wait a second, But I could clearly feel just now that he had a keychain hanging from his waist. That was the second lie he'd told tonight. My suspicions kept growing. After a little while, the door finally opened. The one who opened the door was Li Mingyuan's wife, Shenqing, a chemistry teacher at the same school. She was wearing a silk nightgown. With its belt loosely fastened, her cheeks were flushed. Warm light spilled from the entryway. I caught sight of a tipped-over wine bottle on the living room coffee table, a lit scented candle and scattered rose petals. The air was filled with lingering intimate vibes. In that instant, it all clicked in my head. All the clues suddenly connected into a clear thread. Teacher Li planned a romantic night with his wife, only to find they'd run out of contraceptives. So he went out in the rain to buy some. Being the nice guy he is, he stopped to clear the gunk clogging the drain and accidentally picked up that fruit knife. Then he ran into me. He felt too embarrassed to go buy the supplies and didn't feel good about leaving me alone. So he brought me back with him. The whole thing earlier where he pretended he forgot his key and texted was just to give his wife, who was in sexy loungewear, enough time to change clothes. All of his weird behavior made perfect sense all of a sudden. Why are you so soaked? Sorry about this. Here, dry off with this towel. Thanks, Mrs. Li. I took the towel and dried my hair, but my doubts shifted into even bigger confusion. If he was still that nice, kind guy, if his wife was full of anticipation, waiting for him to come home for some intimacy, would a guy like this really get lustful with a female student on the road, and kill her to dump the body. Shinsei noticed that Li Mingyuan was still holding a dirty knife in his hand, and asked curiously, "Where did you find that knife?" "Why is it so dirty?" "I picked it up by the drain. It was blocking a bunch of trash. I ran into Gunancheng right after that, and forgot to throw it away." As Li Mingyuan spoke, he got ready to toss the knife in the trash, but I suddenly realized something was off. "Wait a second, Teacher Li. Let me take a look at that knife." Confused, Li Mingyuan flipped the knife over, with the blade pointing toward himself, and handed it to me with the hilt facing out. This subconscious action to avoid hurting others once again proved how gentle he was at his core. I took the fruit knife and examined it closely. My face dropped immediately. The light was too dim earlier to see clearly. The edge of this knife actually has tiny rolled edges. This is obviously from Zhang Yan using it to cut hard objects. The coroner's report never mentioned anything about a rolled blade. The cut marks would be obviously different. That means this knife isn't the real murder weapon at all. I'd targeted the wrong person completely. I flipped my wrist up quickly to glance at my watch. It was already 11 p.m. The real killer might just be showing up right about now. I panicked instantly and quickly shoved the towel back to Shenqing. "Sorry, Teacher Li. It's getting really late. I have to head home right now. I'll borrow your raincoat first, okay?" I stuffed the knife handle back into Li Mingyuan's hand, put on the raincoat, and dashed straight into the heavy rain. I ran all the way back to the crime scene and searched the surrounding area several times. Occasionally there were pedestrians passing by in a hurry, but none of them looked like a killer who would stop to commit a crime. 11:30 p.m. The street was completely empty. I pulled out my phone to check the security camera feed. Baiwei was curled up on the couch, nodding off like a sleepy little chick, but she was forcing herself to stay awake, glancing at the door from time to time waiting for me to get home. I clenched my fist and just took off my raincoat, kept wandering around the dark crime scene until it passed midnight, and I still hadn't seen a single suspicious person. My heart was filled with a deep sense of powerlessness and cold dread. Did I really miss my chance? Until it passed midnight, and I still hadn't seen a single suspicious person. My heart was filled with a deep sense of powerlessness and cold dread. Did I really miss my chance? If I can't find the killer, how can I clear Baiwei's name from her past life? I tilted my head up, letting the heavy rain hit my face, my gaze growing more determined. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. I opened the camera feed right away. In the footage, Baiwei was half asleep from exhaustion, but she fought through her fear of being alone and walked to the door, pacing back and forth with a worried look on her face. "Hello? Hello?" The sudden voice made her jump. She quickly looked up at the security camera. "Gunanchen, I got held up by something. I'll be home soon. Go to sleep first if you're tired. I'm just glad you're okay. I'm not sleepy yet." "Wait for you to come back." He forced a gentle smile at the camera. "I promise I'll head back right away." He dragged his tired body and curled up under the blanket again. The look on his face finally relaxed, much relieved. Looking at the empty street, I stood in the pouring rain, letting the cold rain pour down on me. This is a habit I've had for years. Cold water gets my brain working fast. I started madly going over everything that happened tonight. Convenience store clerk Yitsu. 3 thugs. I added everyone to my suspect list with no exceptions. When Yetzi was robbed by the thugs, his backpack was turned completely inside out. They didn't find a single cent on him, let alone a murder weapon, so he's cleared. The 3 thugs. They had a motive, sure, but the type of knife they carried didn't match at all. The knives accessible to the homeless man and delivery worker are ruled out too. None of them are the actual murder weapon. After ruling out all the impossible suspects, I rewound my memory and locked on to someone I never would have suspected. Zhang Yan rushed to the hospital because his mom was critically ill and dropped his knife at the crime scene. But what if his mom's condition stabilized quickly? Half an hour is enough for him to go to the hospital and come back. What if on his way back, he realized his knife was missing and bought a new fruit knife from a nearby shop? The case file does have a record of that. Between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. that night, someone bought a fruit knife in the rain, and the time he got back perfectly missed. The period when Teacher Li and I went to his house, putting all the pieces together. Zhang Yan's suspicion skyrocketed immediately. It's super easy to test this theory. Just go knock on Zhang Yan's door right now, if he's already home, and really did buy a new knife. Then he's definitely the prime suspect. I followed my memory to the area near his house, and my heart sank suddenly. His light was actually on. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. The door opened. Jiang Yan was shirtless, with a towel draped over his head. Goo, what the hell? You're not home yet this late. Where'd you get this raincoat? I walked into the house, and my eyes immediately locked onto the table, where a brand new fruit knife was placed. The mysterious person who bought a knife in the rain late at night in the case file. It was really him. Teacher Lee lent it to me. You just got back. Yeah, something came up with my mom earlier. I was in such a rush I forgot to lend you an umbrella. What are you doing out so late instead of going home? Nothing much, I just like walking in the rain. You left in such a hurry earlier. You dropped your knife on the ground. Why'd you buy a new one? Oh shit. No wonder I couldn't find it anywhere in my pockets. Where'd I drop it? Teacher Lee picked it up and threw it in the trash. Whatever, that knife cut wood anyway. The blade was a bit dull. I just bought a new one on my way back. He smiled casually, but my heart sank in disappointment. The time he got home perfectly matched the time of the murder, and he really did buy the same type of knife as the murder weapon. There's no way to rule him out as a suspect. I carefully picked my words and decided to test him directly. Jiang Yan, we're friends, right? What do you mean, sort of, we're good brothers? Did you get into some trouble? Just tell me straight. Looking at his loyal face, I looked him straight in the eye. I don't want to see you end up in jail for doing something stupid one day. Think about the consequences before you do anything. Your mom can't take care of herself without you. Don't do anything illegal. Jiao Yan froze. He completely misunderstood what I meant. He thought I found out he planned to sell fake cigarettes at school. He didn't get mad at all. He was super touched that I came in the rain to advise him. Relax, other people don't know how I roll. But you do, right? I won't do that. Seeing that I'd said what I came to say, I got up to leave. I had no idea that this accidental warning made him completely give up the idea of selling fake cigarettes. When I turned around and walked into the rain, he dramatically thumped his chest behind me and silently swore that I was his best friend for life. I said goodbye to Jiang Yan with mixed feelings, took Teacher Lee's raincoat and quietly went back to his front door and left the raincoat there. Faint sounds came from inside the house that made people blush and their hearts race, so I didn't make a sound to disturb them. I walked all the way home in the pouring rain. My mood slowly lifted. If Jiang Yan really is the killer, then he's still at the stage where he can be properly guided and rid of his evil thoughts for now. I ran into so many people tonight. No one's a more likely suspect than him so far. It was past midnight when I got home. As the door creaked open, Bai Wei, who was half asleep under the blanket, suddenly snapped her eyes wide open. When she saw me come in, she broke into a big happy smile right away and trotted over to me quickly. But the second she got close, she saw I was soaked through like a drowned rat. You went out to get late-night snacks. How did you get so soaking wet all over? The wind and rain were so strong, my umbrella broke. The late-night snacks got blown away too. No snacks for you. Go take a hot bath right now. You'll catch a cold like this. Looking at her worried face, I smiled a little. The guest room bed only has a hard wooden slat. There's nothing else set up there. Do you want to crash on the couch tonight? Or share my bed with me? I'll just sleep on the couch. Just kidding. You take the bed, I'll sleep on the couch. Let me take a bath first. I don't want to get the freshly mopped floor all wet. I simply took off my waterlogged clothes, right there in the living room, hearing the sound of fabric rustling. Bai Wei looked up instinctively. The sight of my toned muscles made her heart pound like crazy. Her face felt like it was on fire. Her throat felt stuffed with cotton. She couldn't speak. I'm gonna go take a bath first. I'll call you to sleep in the bedroom when I'm done. I didn't notice her odd reaction. I grabbed my wet clothes and walked into the bathroom. Bai Wei nodded mechanically, until the sound of running water came from the bathroom. She collapsed onto the couch like all her bones had turned to jelly, and pressed the back of her hand to her burning cheek. I don't know how long passed. I walked out wrapped in a bath towel. I was gonna ask her to go sleep in the bedroom, but I saw her holding the blanket like a little kitten, curled up on the couch, fast asleep, letting out soft, peaceful little breaths. I walked over slowly and squatted down, looking at her sleeping face quietly. Watching her breathe steadily, I still felt like I was in a dream. It didn't feel real. When I reached to brush the hair off her face, a drop of water still on my arm happened to fall right onto her slightly parted lip. She licked it unconsciously. I was so startled I immediately curled my fingers tight. A clap of thunder boomed outside the window. Bai Wei suddenly rolled over and kicked half the blanket off. I reached out to catch it instinctively, but I brushed against her soft, warm ankle instead. I could clearly tell that her steady breathing had become erratic. Her eyelashes were trembling violently. Her body temperature was rising slowly. She was awake, just didn't open her eyes. I didn't call her out on it. Instead, I picked her up together with the blanket and walked steadily toward the bedroom. The girl in my arms grew more and more nervous. I set her gently down on the bed, pulled the blanket out from under her, and covered her with my quilt. Then I leaned down close to her ear. "Good night." My warm breath made her shrink her neck instinctively. I smiled a little, turned around and walked out the door. As the door clicked shut, Bai Wei opened her eyes in the dark. That short walk from the living room to the bedroom had already turned her brain completely blank. She was nervous beyond belief. She never expected all she'd get was a sweet good night. She grabbed the edge of the quilt and pulled it up to her nose. The faint smell of body wash left on the quilt. For the first time in her life, she didn't curl up. Instead, she stretched out, wrapped the quilt tight, and fell fast asleep. The next morning, the all-night heavy rain finally let up a little. Bai Wei, who had slept well, woke up early and put on the clothes she dried last night. To keep her promise of doing housework to pay me back, she voluntarily helped me clean the bedroom until it was spotless. But when she tiptoed out of the room, she froze immediately on the spot. I was so tired last night. I had a bath towel wrapped around my lower half and passed out cold on the couch covered with a blanket. Right now I had my back to her, but the bath towel that was supposed to be wrapped around me had somehow fallen completely onto the floor. Bai Wei's face flushed bright, red in a split second. To distract herself, she skillfully used the ingredients in the fridge to make sandwiches and hot milk, but she couldn't stop the embarrassing sight of what she just saw from flashing through her mind. Just as Bai Wei put the breakfast on the table, I woke up on the couch too. I was still half asleep and half awake. I instinctively reached for the nightstand to find my gun, but I only touched the cold glass of the coffee table. I propped myself up on my left hand and sat up sharply. The old injury on my left shoulder, left from chasing violent felons, didn't throb with even a little bit of pain. I pressed my fingers to my temple, frowned, and pulled off the bath towel. The skin I saw instantly clashed with what I remembered. All the knife scars from fights were gone. In their place was a smooth, unmarked young body. I was completely awake now. I'd really gone back 10 years. I snapped my head toward the open bedroom door. My heart skipped a beat. Until I saw her busy back in the kitchen, I collapsed back onto the couch hard and let out a long breath. Thank God it wasn't a dream. She really survived that stormy night. In my past life as a criminal cop, I carried endless guilt and exhaustion. I never got to live a single day like a normal young person. Now she's alive, and my youth is back too. This time, I'm gonna live my life right. Gunancheng, time to get up and eat. I already made breakfast. I hope it's to your liking. Bai Wei peeked out from the dining room and called out softly. I sat up and sniffed the air following the scent. There was a tempting smell of wheat and milk in the air. Be right there. I walked over to the dining table. Bai Wei was sitting there quietly waiting for me. You don't have to wait for me next time. You can eat first. It's okay. I was gonna wait for you to finish so we can do dishes together. Try it. See if you like it. If it needs adjustments, I'll fix it next time. Your cooking's good enough to open a shop on the street behind the school. I'll man the cash register, you cook. I used to be pretty hardworking when I lived alone. But now that I'm living with you, I'm probably gonna turn into a lazy pig, haha. Bai Wei held her cheeks in both hands, her smile getting brighter and brighter. I took a bite of the sandwich. The warm fried egg and cheese melted on my tongue. It tasted surprisingly good. I pulled out a tissue and wiped a little grease off the tip of her nose. Bai Wei's ears turned bright red immediately. She shyly lowered her head and stirred the milk in her cup. After breakfast, I was just about to clear the dishes when my hand brushed against hers as she reached for them too. Her hand was soft but ice cold. Bai Wei insisted on doing all the chores. She worked very efficiently and left the kitchen spotless. Right after she came out of the kitchen, she looked around, ready to do more work. I grabbed her small hand and pushed her down onto the couch. You don't look like you're feeling well. No chores for you these 2 days. I'm the one in charge here. You have to do as I say and rest properly, or I'll kick you out, you know? Baiwei was taken aback by my words and nodded obediently. Come shopping with me later. I'll get you some new clothes. I can go home and get some change of clothes. At the mention of going home, her expression clearly looked resistant and uneasy. No need, we'll buy new ones. If you don't have money, I'll cover it for now. But with principal and interest. You have to work as my nanny here long enough to pay it back. If you can't pay it all back, I'm not letting you leave. Baiwei obviously picked up on my underlying intention to keep her around. A warm feeling rushed through her heart. She finally broke into a calm smile and agreed in a low voice. Where do you usually buy clothes? Oh, that secondhand clothing store on the corner of the street behind the school. I can get a whole outfit for $50 there. But I always disinfect them properly. I boil them 3 times with soapy water every time, then leave them out in the sun to dry fully. There was a hint of awkwardness in her soft voice. She was scared I'd dislike her for that. I suddenly thought of a place. They have really nice clothes there. Suddenly being grabbed by me. Baiwei stumbled half a step, and her forehead bumped gently against my shoulder blade. She didn't pull away, and let me lead her. We stopped in front of a glass display window on the corner. The tailor shop's wooden door was slightly ajar. The jingle of the brass bell and the lazy tunes from the gramophone blended together. Baiwei looked at the expensive fabric displayed in the window and nervously squeezed Gunancheng's cuff. This place looks super expensive. The owner is my mom's old classmate. She mainly does business for students. It's not expensive. Come on in. I pushed open the door. The shop smelled of freshly ironed cotton. Aunt Shu behind the counter looked up. Her gaze fell on our intertwined hands, and she smiled, crinkling the corners of her eyes. Oh, what a pretty girl. Nancheng, you brought your girlfriend to pick out clothes. Baiwei's ears turned bright red in an instant. I noticed she was nervous. I slowly let go of her hand. Aunt Shu, help her pick some seasonal clothes. Get a few sets of underwear too? Make sure they're Class A pure cotton. Shui smiled and pulled Baiwei behind the fitting curtain. The curtain only covered her from the neck down. Baiwei couldn't shake the feeling that she was completely exposed to my view. She was so shy that she hid behind the shelves. I stepped back to the window and sat down, flipping through the sample book absent-mindedly, but the soft voice behind the curtain reached my ears clearly. I really don't need the lace one. Listen to your auntie, okay? Women should please themselves first. Underwear is worn under your clothes, so you just pick whatever you like. This set will definitely make that brat Nancheng go crazy. You like it? And he'll love it too when he sees it. It's a total win-win, right? Baiwei wanted to explain their real relationship, but the words got stuck in her throat. In the end, she just nodded with a red face. After picking out the underwear, Shui carried a few more outfits and ducked behind the curtain. Listening to the rustle of fabric inside, a thin layer of sweat broke out on the back of my neck. I couldn't stop imagining what she'd look like in those clothes. The curtain swished open. Does this look weird? Baiwei tugged at the hem of her skirt and turned halfway around. The morning light wrapped her in a translucent honey glow. The cotton skirt swished like a newly bloomed lily of the valley, forming a graceful arc. My Adam's apple bobbed hard. I suddenly stood up to smooth the collar of her shirt. You buttoned the second button wrong. My fingertips accidentally brushed the skin on the side of her neck. I pulled my hand back like I'd been shocked. I grabbed a straw sun hat and put it on her head to hide my panic. Looks like you two are both pretty satisfied, huh? Try this set on too. The curtain was pulled open again. The semi-transparent Ramie fabric outlined the girl's curves in the morning light. I couldn't take my eyes off her for a second. Anshu has really great taste. Every set she picked fit perfectly. Seeing that she was having too much fun matching outfits, I quickly spoke up to stop her. All right, Aunt Shu. Stop matching more clothes. My bank card's gonna max out soon. What are you scared of? Go ask your mom for reimbursement later. Spending money on your daughter-in-law? She'd be over the moon about it. I thought you two were already an item long ago. I smiled bitterly and begged her again and again to keep it a secret. Aunt Zhu joked around and gave me a 90% off friend discount. When checking out, she packed the underwear separately, leaned close to my ear and whispered, Your little girlfriend's figure. I've checked it out for you, it's perfect. I choked and coughed. I handed over my credit card with red ears. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bai Wei standing on tiptoe. Looking at the lace nightgown by the window, she looked so young and beautiful in the morning light. In a trance, the horrifying photo of her, dead body in the rain from my past life, flashed through my mind again. I clenched my fist hard. I swore secretly in my heart, in this life, as long as I'm breathing, I'll do everything I can to protect the beauty in front of me. After we got all the clothes sorted, we only had bedding left to buy. I carried the shopping bags and walked ahead. Bai Wei walked a little slower behind. She secretly glanced at me from the corner of her eye. From the shopping bag, the mint green lace hem of the skirt fluttered gently in the wind. The home goods store is on the 4th floor. Just pick whatever you like later, okay? You're the one sleeping on it anyway. We looked just like a young couple out shopping right then. She walked into the bedding store with a little nervousness and sweetness in her heart. The warm yellow light made everything feel so soft. I pushed the shopping cart and followed beside her. Watching her bend over to pick things out, I had the illusion we were a newlywed couple furnishing our home. Won't this be too expensive? What's expensive? Just try it if you like it. I took a silk quilt and stuffed it into her arms. She smiled and said nothing. When I squatted in front of the shelf comparing filling materials, she secretly put the silk quilt that cost 4 figures back on the shelf. She picked up a cheaper light green washed cotton quilt instead. This one feels nice. What are you talking about? The quality is so bad. I realized right then that she was put off by the price. I stood up and tapped her forehead gently. Good bedding improves sleep quality. And when you stop staying in the guest room later, we can wash it and let guests use it. It's okay to buy the expensive one. The pun of we and not staying in the guest room made her catch another meaning in my words. She was a little stunned for a moment. Come try the support of this mattress. Before she could react, I pulled her into the fluffy silk quilt. I stuffed a memory foam pillow behind her head. My palm gently supported her waist through her clothes. Bai Wei was nestled in the soft bedding. Her cheeks were a little flushed,